You've written today in the Australian newspaper that you would make comprehensive climate change cooperation with the United States a hallmark of the Australia-US alliance. How would you do that? And what should the Prime Minister do, in your opinion, when he meets with the US President next week and in the lead up to the climate talks? What would you like to see from the Prime Minister on that front?
Well, I'd like him to recognise that this is a mature debate and that the sort of sloganeering that we see of technology, not taxes, which doesn't mean anything at all to anybody who follows climate change debate, when, of course, the technology they're talking about is paid for by taxes, is what they're talking about. Those days are over. Australia has got to join the global effort and stop being a pariah nation. We could begin that by adopting net zero emissions by 2050, but we could do much more as well. Recognise that climate change is not just an environmental issue, it's an economic one in which we can transform our economy to create more jobs, to lower energy prices, and to assist in high-value manufacturing. But it's also a national security issue. In this era of strategic competition between China and the United States, we need to join with our ally in the United States to work with like-minded countries in the Indo-Pacific region on national security issues, which they see very much as being related to climate policy. And at the moment, when we've engaged with our Pacific neighbours, we're the naughty guys in the corner. We're not a part of that global effort. The fact
but is there anything specific that you could point to? You're talking about this comprehensive climate change cooperation. What would something specific be if you are Prime Minister and win the next election?
Well, cooperation on technology, cooperation in making sure that that technology is ubiquitous in the way that it is transferred to developing nations, support for the sort of mechanisms that are advocated at the UN level for bringing our developing countries, our neighbours forward as well, enabling them to transition. All of those measures are things that we could do. We have in this country, for example, every resource that goes into a battery, and that's so important for storage and for this transition. We could be providing that sort of support. We could be engaging in those global forums in a constructive way, convening meetings with our Pacific and Indian Ocean neighbours and our neighbours to the north on how we deal with the challenge of climate change. The United States, one of Joe Biden's first actions as president was to convene the international forum that he did on climate change action. Scott Morrison did get a speaking berth there, somewhere in the late 20s of countries being able to participate in that forum because Australia wasn't taken seriously. When Boris Johnson convened a meeting, Australia wasn't invited at all. Now, we could start by showing leadership, and we're in a position to do so. It's an important part of our national security interests, not just for our own national security, but throughout the region as well. And we could be working in partnership with the United States because we know that that is occurring with the competition between the US and China.